I need your full attention because the next few minutes will fundamentally change how you navigate the world of relationships, saving you from cycles of pain and confusion. I've spent over a decade decoding human behavior and the subtle currents of communication. I've found there are 5 specific things men say that aren't just words. They are coded messages that reveal a man's true character so perfectly that to ignore them is to willingly walk into a storm without a coat. These are not just warning signs. They are carefully calibrated verbal traps designed to look like everyday conversation. And once I show you how to hear the real message, you'll never be able to unhear it. Make sure you listen all the way through, because the 5th one is the quietest and most corrosive, and it slips past the defenses of almost every woman. Understanding it is your single greatest key to preserving your peace of mind. But before we get to these 5 phrases, we have to address a critical blind spot that affects nearly everyone. Most women are taught to be emotional detectives, to look for the good intentions behind bad behavior, to see a man's potential, not his reality. This programming is so deeply embedded that it has silenced our own built-in alarm system, the one designed to detect those who prey on our good nature. And that's precisely what they are: emotional opportunists who use language to probe your weaknesses, lower your self-worth, and dismantle your boundaries piece by piece. There's an ancient idea that words are not just sounds, they carry the energetic fingerprint of the speaker. When a man speaks to you, he's not just sharing facts. He's transferring his core beliefs, his level of self-awareness, and his true respect for you directly into your space. This is exactly why some conversations leave you feeling exhausted, insecure, or second-guessing yourself, even if the words themselves seemed harmless. Your intuition felt the poison, but your conditioned mind tried to tell you it was just a normal drink. What I am giving you right now is not just dating advice. It's a form of personal sovereignty, a way to protect your heart, and more importantly, your life's path. Because let's be brutally honest, the person you choose as a partner doesn't just influence your love life. He shapes your ambition, your mental health, your financial stability, and your connection to your own soul. A bad choice will cost you years of your vital life energy in recovery. But learning to spot and immediately disengage from the wrong ones, that creates a vacuum that the universe will rush to fill with something extraordinary. The first coded message that should have you putting on your running shoes is when a man tells you you're thinking too much, or any of its cousins like you're making a big deal out of nothing, or just relax. This statement is a masterclass in psychological deflection. It's engineered to make you believe that your clarity is a flaw. When a man accuses you of overthinking, he's not critiquing your thought process. He's revealing that he is uncomfortable with a woman who pays attention to details and trusts her own perception. Here's the subtext of that phrase. He's testing to see if you will disconnect from your own powerful mind to make him feel safe. He wants to know if you'll agree to be less intelligent so he can operate without scrutiny. A partner who genuinely values you is not intimidated by your thoughts, he's intrigued by them. He wants to know what you see. He wants to understand your conclusions even if they challenge him. When a man tells you that your analytical mind is a problem, he is telling you that he prefers his convenience over your consciousness. The most destructive part of this is how it erodes your trust in your own mind. You start to censor your own thoughts, dismissing your own brilliant connections and intuitive hits as overthinking. You start to believe that being a cool girl means being an unthinking girl. This is precisely the goal of an emotional opportunist. Your intellect is your shield, and he wants you to put it down. Women who repeatedly hear this often describe feeling like they've lost their mental sharpness years later. They've been trained to doubt their own faculties, to see their own awareness as a burden. This is a subtle form of mind control, and it's become so common we barely notice it. But I'm telling you, a conscious, secure man wants a partner who is his intellectual equal, not someone who dumbs herself down for his comfort. The second phrase that is poison disguised as medicine is, "I'm just being brutally honest," or "I'm just trying to help you," especially when it's used as a shield for a comment that was clearly designed to warn. This phrase is a manipulation tactic that attempts to rebrand cruelty as a form of integrity. When someone uses honesty as a justification for hurting you, they are not being truthful. They are being hostile and then trying to frame it as a gift. True honesty is rooted in a desire for connection and growth. It's offered with empathy, with a clear concern for your well-being, and with a sense of responsibility. When a man delivers a cutting remark and then defends it with, "I'm just being honest," he's showing you that he either lacks the emotional intelligence to communicate with care, or he enjoys the power trip of putting you down and then making you feel guilty for being hurt. This is how self-esteem is systematically dismantled. He will target your passions, your looks, your intelligence, your family, anything you hold dear. And if you dare to say, ouch, that hurt, he will act as if you are the problem for being too fragile to handle his truth. This sets up a psychological bind where you start to associate love with enduring pain and believe that asking for gentle communication makes you weak. The reality is, a man who loves you wants to be a safe harbor for your heart, not a storm that tests its strength. Of course, healthy relationships require difficult conversations, but those conversations are held with the goal of strengthening the connection, not winning a power struggle. When someone consistently uses honesty as a weapon, they are revealing that they are more committed to their own ego than to your emotional safety. What makes this so effective is our cultural praise of keeping it real. We're taught to admire authenticity, so we feel we should be grateful for it, even when it feels like a slap in the face. But I need you to understand this: honesty without kindness is not a virtue. It is simply aggression in a socially acceptable costume. The third phrase that should trigger every internal alarm you have is, "You're so insecure," particularly when you are pointing out a behavior that makes you feel uneasy or disrespected. This is a classic gaslighting move, and its function is to make you fear bringing up legitimate concerns. When a man labels your valid feelings as a sign of his insecurity, he is conditioning you to be silent. Let's be perfectly clear on what it means to express a need. It's not insecurity, it's not a weakness, it's not a flaw. Expressing a need is simply an act of self-respect and a sign of a healthy, functioning person. When you say things like, "It makes me uncomfortable when you talk about her that way," or "I feel disconnected when we don't spend quality time together," or "I need to know I can count on you," you are not being insecure. You are being brave enough to be vulnerable. A man who responds to this vulnerability by diagnosing you with insecurity is revealing his own character flaw. He is showing you that he perceives your feelings as a burden. He sees your need for reassurance not as an opportunity to build trust, but as an annoying chore. This is not the recipe for a partnership. It's the recipe for a dynamic where you slowly erase yourself to keep the peace. The tragedy for women in these dynamics is profound. They learn to swallow their feelings, to pretend they are fine when they are not, to accept actions that violate their core values, all because they've been taught that having feelings makes them insecure. They start to wear a mask of being low maintenance, not realizing they are simply abandoning their own needs for someone who refuses to meet them. Here is the bottom line: a man who loves you wants to know what makes you feel insecure because he wants to help you feel safe. He understands that your vulnerability is an invitation to come closer, not a reason to push you away. The men who call you insecure for expressing a feeling are the very same men who will exploit your silence. They want all the benefits of your love and support without any of the responsibility of earning your trust. The fourth phrase is a masterpiece of modern-day emotional evasion. "I'm not looking for anything serious," or "let's just go with the flow." But, and this is the critical part, his actions tell a completely different story. He is in constant contact, he spends all his time with you, he treats you like a girlfriend, he's emotionally intimate, and he integrates you into his life, all while holding up a verbal sign that says, "This phrase is a get-out-of-jail-free card disguised as transparency." It is designed to give him 100% of the girlfriend experience with 0% of the commitment. He gets your devotion, your support, your body, and your time, but he reserves the right to walk away at any moment, guilt-free, because he can always say, "I told you what this was." This is so damaging because it places you in an emotional paradox. If you stay, you are actively co-signing your own undervaluation. You are agreeing to be a placeholder. If you ask for clarity, he can weaponize his original statement against you, making you seem demanding. If you leave, you're haunted by the feeling that you're giving up on something that was almost real, if you'd just been a little more patient. But I need you to hear this loud and clear: when a man is truly captivated by you and wants to build a future with you, there is no ambiguity. There is no going with the flow. There is no "I'm not sure." When a man knows your value, he acts with purpose and decisiveness to make you a permanent part of his life. The men who keep you in this situationship gray area aren't confused. They are perfectly clear. They want to keep you in their life without having to make a real choice. This dynamic is a slow-acting poison to your self-worth. You begin to internalize the belief that you are not quite enough to be chosen, that you have to audition for a commitment that should be freely given. You start to see love not as a mutual partnership, but as a prize you have to earn by accepting scraps. The deepest cruelty is that these men often do like you. They enjoy you. They may even feel a form of love for you. But the truth is, they love their freedom and their options more than they love the idea of your emotional security. They would rather keep you in a state of anxiety than risk losing you by being fully honest that they will never fully choose you. And now we arrive at the fifth and most insidious phrase, the one that is so subtle it often feels like a genuine observation until you realize it's a cage. The phrase is, "You used to be more fun," or "You've changed." And it's always said with a hint of disappointment, a subtle accusation that the person you are becoming is a downgrade from the person you once were. This phrase is a direct attack on your personal evolution. It is designed to instill a fear of growth, to make you retreat to an older, smaller version of yourself that was more convenient and less threatening to him. When a man criticizes you for changing, he's not mourning the loss of the old you. He is revealing that what he was attracted to was not your true essence, but your potential to fit into the box he had designed for you. Here is what is actually happening. You are finding your voice. You are setting firmer boundaries. You are getting serious about your career. You are becoming more of who you were always meant to be, and instead of applauding your transformation, he feels left behind or challenged by it. Why? Because the version of you he preferred was more compliant, more agreeable, and more focused on his world than on building your own. This phrase hits you where you are most vulnerable, your innate desire to be loved for who you are. When a partner suggests that your personal growth is a form of betrayal, it can trigger an identity crisis. You start to wonder if becoming your authentic self is worth the price of his approval. You wonder if you need to shrink yourself to save the relationship. I have seen women dim their own light, give up on their ambitions, and abandon their personal healing work because a man made them feel that their growth was selfish. They stop speaking their truth because he liked them better when they were quiet. They stop enforcing boundaries because he preferred them when they were more flexible. But this is the truth you must hold on to. A man who truly loves you does not just tolerate your growth, he is thrilled by it. He is your biggest cheerleader. He feels proud and excited to see you becoming more powerful, more clear, and more aligned with your purpose. He knows that your individual expansion doesn't take away from the relationship, it enriches it. When a man tells you he liked the old you better, he is admitting that he preferred you when you were less fully yourself. He's telling you his love was conditional upon you remaining stagnant. That is not love. That is control. That is someone wanting to possess a static object, not partner with a dynamic soul. The most painful part is that women often internalize this critique as proof that they are the problem. They feel guilty for evolving. They apologize for taking up more space, for having stronger opinions, for needing more from life. They start to see their own journey of becoming as an act of selfishness instead of the most natural, beautiful process of being human. Now that you're armed with this knowledge, you might be feeling a storm of emotions, recognition, anger, sadness, maybe even relief. All of it is valid. Let it flow through you. But please understand the purpose of this knowledge. It's not to make you bitter about men or fearful of love. It's to make you a wise steward of your own heart. It's about cultivating discernment, the ability to tell the difference between a man who wants to add to your life and a man who wants to extract from it. It's about finally giving yourself permission to trust that feeling in your gut when something just feels wrong, even when you can't logically explain it. The truth is, there are incredible men out there who would never dream of using these phrases. Men who see your sensitivity as a superpower. Men who know how to speak hard truths with a soft heart. Men who don't just respect your boundaries but are grateful for them because they provide a roadmap to your heart. Men who choose you with a resounding eyes, not a hesitant maybe. Men who look at your growth with awe, not with fear. These men are real, but you will never find them if you are wasting your time trying to decode the mixed signals of men who don't see your worth. You will never be available for them if you're pouring your precious energy into a project of trying to fix someone who enjoys being broken. This is what I want you to do. Start noticing how you feel, not what you think, but how you feel in your body after you interact with a man. Do you feel expanded or contracted? Do you feel more vibrant or mysteriously tired? Do you feel celebrated for being you, or do you feel like you have to perform? Your body is the ultimate truth teller. It has no agenda. Start honoring its wisdom. If you feel a knot in your stomach in the first few dates, listen to it. If you find yourself constantly rehearsing conversations in your head or justifying his behavior to your friends, that is a glaring sign. If you notice yourself editing your personality, shelving your dreams, or lowering your standards to keep someone comfortable, that is all the data you need. And most of all, I need you to know that walking away from someone who diminishes you is not an act of giving up. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It is not closing the door on love. It is opening the door for the right love. Every minute you spend trying to teach someone your value is a minute you are unavailable to someone who already gets it. The right person for you will not make you feel like you're hard to love. The right person will make loving you feel like the most effortless, natural thing in the world. Let me share a final thought that reframed everything for me. Your standards are not a fortress to keep people out. They are a lighthouse to guide the right person home. When you are clear about what you require to feel respected and cherished, you are not being difficult. You are creating the conditions for your best self to emerge. Your most loving, radiant, and generous self. The people who are bothered by your standards were never meant for you anyway. The ones who honor them, who respect them, who are genuinely curious about them because they want you to feel safe and happy in their presence. Those are your people. Those are the ones who understand that real love is not about possession, but about mutual liberation. Every time you honor a boundary, you raise your own value. Every time you walk away from disrespect, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready for something better. Every time you choose your own peace over someone else's drama, you are building a life based on authentic power, not on accommodation. This is not about building walls around your heart. This is about being the discerning gatekeeper of your own life. It's about understanding that your love, your energy, and your attention are sacred resources. They should be invested in people who will cherish them, not in people who will squander them. And here's the final, most critical truth I will leave you with. It is not your job to fix the people who break your heart. It is not your job to be a teacher to men who refuse to learn. It is not your job to stay in a situation that dims your light out of some misplaced sense of loyalty or potential. Your purpose is not to be so endlessly compassionate and patient that you lose yourself. Your purpose is not to love someone into a better version of themselves. Your purpose is to be your most authentic self, to honor your soul's calling, to trust your own inner wisdom, and to build a life that feels like home to you. The love you seek is also seeking you. But it can only find you when you're standing fully in your own truth, not when you're shrinking to fit into someone else's world. So the next time you hear one of these 5 coded messages, I want you to pause. I want you to take a breath, honor what you know deep down, and make a choice that aligns with your highest self. Because you deserve a love that feels like an expansion, not a confinement. You deserve a love that champions your becoming, not one that resents it. You deserve a love that treasures your sensitivity, not one that treats it as an inconvenience. Walk away from anyone who makes you doubt your own magic. Walk toward everything that makes you feel more alive. Your future depends on the courage you show today. The courage to choose yourself, even when it's lonely, even when it's terrifying, even when it means letting go of a fantasy that was never going to be real. The right love won't demand a sacrifice of self. The right love will feel like finally deeply coming home. Trust this, choose this, and never for one moment settle for anything less.